Pace and precision while handling business. Pace and precision while handling business. Pace and precision, pace and precision, pace and precision while handling business. God in my heart while I'm making decisions. God in my heart while I'm making decisions. Pace and precision, handling business. God in my heart while I'm making decisions. Pace and precision, handling business. God in my heart while I'm making decisions. While I'm making decisions, God in my heart while I'm making decisions. God in my heart while I'm making decisions. God in my heart when I'm making decisions. Pace and precision, handling business. God in my heart while I'm making.
Yo, what up? It's your boy CL, back for the first time like Luda. No, just playing. I guess I am technically back for the first time with the new name, as you can see up top. I have a name for the podcast now. It is no longer the podcast with no name. I had this name actually brewing for a while. I just wanted to make sure that, that the name was available, and just wanted to make sure I had all my logo and everything the way that I wanted to, get it done. And so I'm very, very proud of the results. I'm not like one of these tech guys or anything like that, I don't have the ability to do a lot of the stuff that some of these guys that, kind of went to school for it does. But again, I'm very proud of how it turned out. I'm very proud of the name. And I'm honestly just looking forward to, just growing the network, growing the podcast, just allowing you all the opportunity to see me, um, at pretty much the beginning stage, and as it kind of progresses through the next stage and so forth and so on. So I'm looking forward to you all growing with me. But as I said before on the first video, there's going to be some mistakes. There's going to be some things that I actually I actually welcome you all to challenge me about, and just kind of give me your advice and your opinion on things, because I really am, new to doing this. And, the only thing that I know, as far as, what I wanted to do with this platform is, I know that I know my sports, and I know that I know my music, and I know that I know fashion and things of that nature. But the behind the scenes stuff, I'm still learning. So, please bear with me. And again, I just want to actually start off by thanking everybody that supported me on the first video, the first episode. I cannot thank you all enough. To me, it was a resounding success. Just the level of support that I received from friends, from family, from strangers, from other podcasters. I want to give a big shout out to the Under the Influence podcast guys. They gave me some really good advice. And just everybody that really, took the time to watch the video. Even if you didn't watch the entire episode, that's okay, because I know everybody's got life, man. Things happen, things go on, and I know people don't necessarily have time to sit down and watch maybe like an hour long podcast or whatever the case may be. So I understand that. So, but for everybody that took any time out of their day to watch even just a little smidge of what I'm doing, I really appreciate it. And I really, really, truly appreciate all the advice. Again, I know I said that, but a lot of the comments had to do with kind of lighting and audio and setup and things like that. And again, I thank you guys so much, because again, this is not my background, man. I am a firefighter. I just like, talking about these things. I like talking about sports and music and fashion and just life in general. So this, like I said, all the behind the scenes stuff is all new to me. And I'm going to keep learning. I'm going to keep growing. And I hope that you all, just bear with me and grow with me. I really hope that you guys stick with me. So I promise you, things are going to progress and things are going to get better, because I'm definitely the kind of person that I'm a perfectionist, and I want to see things get better. And so I'm going to do everything I can to work on, the behind the scenes stuff to put out a product that I really, really, truly believe is a quality product. So anyways, I would be remiss if I did not start the show off by talking about, the LA wildfires, and just really wanting to throw my support behind the firefighters, the EMS workers, all the first responders, all the people that have supported them. And I'm talking about just, the restaurants that donated food, the grocery stores that donated food, people just donating countless hours to help out with everything that's going on out there. I myself, as I mentioned before, I am a firefighter, and believe it or not, when I was stationed in Albuquerque, New Mexico, I actually assisted the New Mexico Forestry Service multiple times with wildland fire services. So that I cannot I cannot tell you guys how tough of a job that is. I mean, it is extremely hard, long hours, not a lot of rest. I mean, the people that do that, they genuinely enjoy doing that, because I promise you that is one of the toughest jobs that I've ever had in my life. So again, I just want to I want to show my support and my love to all the people that are out there, working their tails off. It's not easy, but you guys are doing such a great job, and I really genuinely appreciate what you guys do. So thank you so much. Now, let's get right into it, man. Let's talk about this Super Bowl. This Super Bowl, it I'm not going to say it went exactly the way I expected. I mean, I did predict that the Eagles were going to win this game, but I'm going to keep it 100 with y'all, man. I definitely did not think that the Eagles were just going to just blow them out. I mean, they literally slapped them all around the field, man. Like it was crazy. It really was. Um, it was, the final score was 40-22, but that let's be honest, like it was not a 40-22 game. It really was not. Kansas City just got outplayed in every facet of the game. I mean, they truly did. They got outcoached. They got outplayed. Anything that you can think of, like the Eagles were just a better team. And a lot of things took place during the game that, I kind of thought was going to happen. Mainly, I knew that, the Eagles possessed the ability to be able to pressure Patrick Mahomes with just 4 down linemen. If you go back to the first video, that's what I said. As it was, I just knew that they had the type of talent up front that could really disrupt and make things really hard for Patrick Mahomes, and you saw that. This was the Super Bowl against Tampa Bay Buccaneers all over again for Patrick Mahomes. Like he genuinely felt uncomfortable from like the opening kickoff. He felt uncomfortable. And I'm pretty sure that was Vic Fangio's goal, was just to make him feel as uncomfortable as possible, with just a 4 down lineman throwing him different looks and showing different pressures and things like that. The craziest part about this game, in my opinion, was that they didn't blitz one time. The Philadelphia Eagles did not blitz one time this entire game. Like, that is crazy. That is 1,000% the formula to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. And I say that, and I say it like it's easy, but it's really not. Like, for one, you have to have the personnel to be able to do that, which clearly the Eagles have. And on top of that, you have to have the defensive coordinator that has the mindset to throw all these different looks at Patrick Mahomes. Now, Patrick Mahomes is the greatest, for me. He's the greatest quarterback that I have ever seen with my own 2 eyes. Now he's got some competition out there. There's a lot of talented quarterbacks, but for my taste, Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback that I've ever seen with my own 2 eyes, and that's hard for me to say because I'm a Tom Brady, I'm a Michigan Wolverines fan, and Tom Brady is the GOAT. But I'm just talking about from a pure like talent standpoint. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback that I have ever seen, talent-wise. But to make Patrick Mahomes look as uncomfortable as he looked, and I mean, he was just doing things that were completely uncharacteristic of him. I mean, some of those interceptions, he had 2 interceptions, I believe, and I think both interceptions were really bad interceptions. Like, he literally threw the ball right to the defender. And it wasn't like, something was tipped, like he threw a good throw and, it was tipped and, somebody ended up coming down with the ball. Like, he threw bad. They were just bad interceptions. And, you can chalk that up to pressure. You can chalk that up to, just him not, seeing the field clearly, whatever case may be. But it just goes back to what I said on the first episode. Like, the 4 down linemen from the Eagles, they're just really good. And then I said, the Chiefs have 3 Pro Bowl linemen, but I said that the 2 other guys they were going to be a problem. They were going to struggle, and I said it was going to end up making it was going to end up being some game changing plays. And as you saw on the one play, I mean, obviously he was sacked numerous. I think he was sacked like 8 or 9 times. And but he had the one strip sack fumble that, you know, again, is one of those game changing plays. So at the end of the day, like it was just not a good game for him. And he said as much after the game. He put it all on him. That's what I love about Patrick Mahomes, man. Like Patrick Mahomes, this is how you know he's a leader. He never ever puts it on anybody else to be better. He always takes accountability for himself, and he always puts it on himself to be better. And, you know, there were so many times, definitely over these last couple of seasons, even when they were on their championship runs, when it was clearly not Patrick Mahomes' fault. And I'm not even going to say like this game was largely his fault. The Eagles were just a better team. Like it is what it is. Sometimes the other team is just better, and that team was just a better team. But I love that about Patrick Mahomes. I love the fact that he always takes accountability, man, whether it's his fault or not. That is what you want in a leader, and that is why he is beloved in that locker room, because he truly, you know, he embodies what you would want as a leader. So shout out to Patrick Mahomes. Shout out to, you know, Andy Reid. Shout out to Chris Jones. Shout out to all those guys, man. Like you guys at least made it to the Super Bowl, and all the other teams that, you know, had the opportunity to three-peat, they never even got that far. So, you know, the fact that you guys even made it to the Super Bowl, I think is, you know, you should be commended for that. I think it's great. And, you know, it's no shade to you guys. The Eagles were just a better team, and that's just what it is. But let's get to the Eagles. Let's talk about the Super Bowl champion Eagles. I said last week that, you know, I was kind of torn about if I wanted to see the Chiefs three-peat versus, you know, seeing, you know, the new blood Eagles, you know, win the game. I knew the Eagles were going to win, but I was kind of torn as far as like, you know, seeing history being made. But at the end of the day, man, I'm mostly happy for 2 guys. And the first one I'm going to start with, I think it's obvious, Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley was on a franchise that was just not a good franchise at the time. You know, during his tenure there, they did not make very good decisions. Obviously, you know, signing Daniel Jones to the extension and not signing Saquon for what he was worth, and he literally was everything for that team. I'm not going to beat a dead horse with that, but I just want to say for Saquon, man, I am truly, truly happy for you. You seem like a genuine guy. You seem like somebody that really, really, like, you know, embodies like just the team aspect and just going all in for, you know, the guys around you, and seem like a truly humble guy. And so I like when guys like that get that, you know, that opportunity to taste success. I just think it's awesome. And you know, not that he needed like the ultimate, like, you know, F you or whatever to the Giants, because I don't think Saquon's really built like that. I don't think that's really his mindset. But I know it had to have felt good to, you know, to kind of prove the haters wrong. I myself, I'm going to tell you right now, and I promise you this is not like me making this up. There was never a time that I did not think that Saquon Barkley was the best running back in the league since he stepped in the league. I know everybody was like on the Christian McCaffrey thing, and I think Christian McCaffrey is a really, really good back. But I just always thought that Saquon like did everything Christian McCaffrey did, and I just thought he was just better at it. He just had a string of bad luck with injuries. He had he was on a bad team, so he never really got a chance to showcase that. And I've just always been a Saquon fan. I really have. So I'm happy to see him get a Super Bowl ring. And the other guy is Jalen Hurts, man. I really cannot say enough about Jalen Hurts as a leader. He truly, like Patrick Mahomes, he truly embodies what it means to be a leader, man. He doesn't always necessarily do it with like gaudy stats or anything like that. But if you want a guy that's always going to be solid, a guy that's always going to lead by example, not necessarily a rah-rah guy or anything like that, just goes out there, puts in the work, and does the job and gets it done at a high level, especially when it's crunch time. Like, this is the guy for you, man. I really, really love everything about Jalen Hurts, man. I think he just has this calm demeanor. He seems like he never really lets anything get to him. Even with like a lot of the AJ Brown antics, and you can kind of see after Jalen Hurts missed him on that on the pass where AJ would have scored a touchdown, obviously, but he came kind of to the sidelines, and I was like, oh my God, here we go again with the AJ antics. A lot of people like try to conflate that with like oh, he just wants to win. He's just competitive. Man, anybody can be competitive and not like try to show up their coach on the sideline or try to show up their quarterback. Like trust me, I'm as competitive as it gets, man. Like I don't want to lose it. I don't want to lose at checkers. I don't want to lose at anything. So I get it, man. And when I played wide receiver, man, for a little bit, and just sports in general, like I always feel like I can win my matchup, whether it's playing basketball, whether it's playing football, whatever the case may be. But I'm never going to go to the sideline and try to show up my quarterback or show up my coach or whatever the case may be. That's just not how I'm wired. I think AJ Brown's a hell of a talent. I think he's a great player. I just wish that he found different ways to express his frustration, man. And go to the sidelines and I guess read the book, man. I guess he got his own book club now and stuff like that. Everybody kind of got some humor out of that. But that's really my only knock on AJ Brown, man. I think if he can just find different ways to to kind of express his frustration rather than showing them up, I think he's a phenomenal talent, man. I think he's one of those guys that's truly unguardable. But anyways, back to Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, man, if you go all the way back to when he was at Alabama, and this showed me everything that I needed to know about Jalen Hurts back then when he got benched for Tua in that national championship game, and he was right there cheering Tua on. You know what I mean? Rooting on the team. He didn't sit there with like the stank face or like he genuinely wanted to see the team thrive, and he genuinely knew in that moment that Tua was the guy for that particular job. And if you go back and you look at it, man, like in that moment, it just let me know, like, this is the kind of guy, man, that you want leading your team. He then turns around, goes to Oklahoma, puts up ridiculous numbers. I mean, like video game numbers, en route to like a Heisman Finals resume. And, and if you've watched him, throughout, I think he's been in the league 5 years now, maybe. Throughout his tenure, man, he's consistently gotten better and better and better. And it just kind of brings me to my point, man. I have a question for everybody. So, get in the comments, man. Let me know what y'all think about this. The question is, do we think Jalen Hurts is elite? And for me, the answer is a resounding yes. And I'm going to tell you why. There's a lot of different ways that you can be elite. Like, you don't necessarily have to be one of these guys that puts up these ridiculous numbers. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of quarterbacks out there, and there's just a lot of players out there. They put up ridiculous numbers, but it doesn't ever amount to anything. This guy, in his time in the NFL, has been to the playoffs, I believe, every year, and has gotten essentially better every year. He's been in the Super Bowl twice, and not for his efforts. Like, they probably should have won that first Super Bowl because it was not his fault that they didn't win. I mean, he had like something like 375 passing yards and, like the rushing yards and everything. He had one turnover that obviously was costly, but he played a hell of a game. So, and then you fast forward to this game, again, has a ridiculously good game. The numbers might not necessarily be eye-popping, but he played this game as well as a quarterback can play a game, especially when you consider the fact that the entire game plan of the Kansas City Chiefs was to stop Saquon Barkley in the run game. When you go for 17 for 22 for 221 yards, and then on top of that, you rush for another 72 yards, and then a combined 3 touchdowns, yeah, that's what I call elite. So while he may not necessarily put up elite numbers, he is an elite winner, which I would take that over any other, type of elite that you want to throw out there. He's an elite winner, and he's elite when he needs to be elite in moments. So that is, to me, what makes him an elite quarterback. Now, obviously, like I said, get in the comments. Y'all let me know what y'all think, what y'all consider elite. I know that, like I said, there's guys out there putting up gaudy numbers and things like that. And that does not take anything away from those guys. Those guys are elite in their own way. But give me a Jalen Hurts, man. Give me a guy that is an elite winner and is elite in the moments where it counts. I mean, I cannot say enough about Jalen Hurts. I'm truly happy for him. It's always great when you see a guy that kind of faced the adversity that he faced to now reap the rewards of all of his hard work. So for Jalen Hurts, man, truly, truly happy for you. Again, shout out, congrats to the Super Bowl champion Eagles. You guys were, I firmly believe that you guys were the best team in the NFL this year. And again, you guys know I'm a Lions fan. Even when we put up, a better regular season record, there was, for the last several weeks, I just really, really thought that the Eagles were a better team. And so shout out to you guys. On another note, I'm not going to get into this too heavily. But I gotta talk about my Lions just a little bit. I'm just gonna throw something out there. Brad Holmes, I hope you're watching. All y'all Lions fans, let's get this in the air. I know that there is a lot of talk about trading for Myles Garrett and just bolstering our defensive line. And while I think that Myles Garrett is an absolutely exceptional generational talent, I love Myles Garrett. I don't want Myles Garrett at what it's going to cost us. And I'm going to circle back to, there's a lot of teams that are in the mix for Myles Garrett. If you just look at the different conversations that are being had out there. And one of those is Myles Garrett going to the Eagles, which I would welcome. And I know you guys are saying, are you crazy? Have you not seen that defensive line already to add Myles Garrett to it? That, would just be ridiculous. I'm going to tell you why. And again, I'm not going to get too far into this because, when it gets closer to the NFL draft, I'm going to go in depth on, kind of what I hope to see my Lions do and things like that. But I'm just going to give you guys two names that I would like for the Lions to pursue on top of just whatever other, transactions they make, whether it be the draft or free agency or whatever. But I apologize because last week I called Josh Sweat, Montez Sweat. I truly apologize for that. I misspoke. But Josh Sweat from the Eagles, who had, I think, 2.5 sacks yesterday during the Super Bowl, he is an upcoming free agent. I would love to see my Lions go after him, and I would love to see them go after Khalil Mack. I think that when you get a healthy Aiden Hutchinson back, and you get a healthy Aleem McNeil back, and you get a healthy DJ Reader back, and then you add Josh Sweat and you add Khalil Mack, I feel like that for me is the recipe for my Lions to be successful. So that's like I said, I'm not going to get too in depth with it, but for me, I just wanted to kind of get that take out, man, because I feel like Brad Holmes is an exceptional GM. I feel like he's already a top 3 GM. I think the two top GMs were the 2 GMs that were in the Super Bowl yesterday. And I'm not just saying that just because they were in the Super Bowl. If you kind of go back and look at their track record, Brett Veach and what's my guy from the Eagles, having another brain fart, Howie Roseman, sorry. So if you go back and you look at the 2 of those guys' track record, man, they really make exceptional moves, whether it be free agency or I think more so in the draft. I just think that they really draft well. But they do make some, especially Brett Veach, they do make some trades now and then that are some really good trades. And so, but I think those 2 for now, I think they're ahead of Brad Holmes. But, and not for anything Brad Holmes has done or not done. I just think they've been in the game longer and they have a more proven track record. So, but Brad Holmes, he makes really good decisions. So I'm counting on him to make some really good decisions. But I just want to put that in the air, man. So all y'all guys out there, What We're Sports and all the, the Detroit area podcasts and things like that. Let's get that brewing, man, because I think that could be really good for the squad. Anyways, let's get on to the next topic. Let's talk about these regular season NFL awards. Um, I think a few of these we could have obviously predicted. Um, let's talk about, obviously I think we could have predicted the offensive rookie of the year, Jaden Daniels. I mean, that was a no brainer, man. I mean, that kid's like been lights out the entire season. Took his team all the way to the NFC Championship game. So don't even really need to get into that too much. I think Jared Verse winning the defensive rookie of the year. Even though a lot of people have been saying that for weeks, they've been saying that, he's probably going to win it. I really think that he has some stiff competition on his own team, because Braden Fisk, like, he had a ridiculous season as well. I think he ended up with like eight and a half sacks or something like that. So I mean, he had a really good season as well. I just think that when they took the overall body of work and kind of the impact, I think it went beyond just the sacks, because if it didn't, obviously Brayton Fisk would have won. But I just think, overall impact, I thought that everybody thought that Jared Verse has had a more impactful season, and I don't have a disagreement with there at all. Coach of the year, Kevin O'Connell. Let me tell y'all why I'm a little upset, man. So again, I think I mentioned last week, I'm not like a huge gambler or anything like that, but back in, I think, week two or week three, I did place a bet, and it was for the regular season awards, and I picked Josh Allen to win MVP, which check. We'll get into that in a second. I picked Jaden Daniels to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Check. I picked Kevin O'Connell to win Coach of the Year. Check. And then I forget the last one. Oh, I picked Aiden Hutchinson to win Defensive Player of the Year. So I'm not a huge gambler, man. So like, once Aiden Hutchinson went down, and I think he had like 7.5 sacks already. So when he went down, and as so I was kind of like, wondering if, if they would still honor the bet. Because again, I don't know what I'm doing in the betting world. I can tell you right now, it's not my thing. I was like, man, do they have like some kind of designation, or do they honor, like, if if somebody went down like early in the season? So like the entire season, like, I'm hoping and wishing like that there's something in place where they would, like, kind of like exclude him from the bet. And obviously, once everything shaped up, and I realized that my bet had been settled, that I did not win anything, I was a little upset, because I picked all those other guys right, and I just needed Aiden to come through for me, and he didn't. Obviously, he got injured, so it is what it is. But yeah. Anyways, that's my little soapbox for the day, as far as NFL awards go. But let's get to Josh Allen. So Josh Allen won the MVP award, and I'm gonna tell y'all, just full disclaimer right now, Josh Allen is my favorite quarterback in the NFL. I just really like everything he embodies, man. I just think he's super, super talented, and he plays the game a little rough, but because that's kind of how my mindset is, man. I'm just like, I'm knocking people over. I'm doing what I got to do, whatever the case may be. But he is my favorite quarterback, man. And so I was excited to see him win the MVP, but I'm going to keep it 100 with y'all, man. Josh Allen did not deserve this award, man. I get it. I've heard a lot of people's takes. Actually, let me take this back. I'm not going to say Josh Allen did not deserve the award, because that's crazy to say that. What I will say is I thought Lamar Jackson was more deserving of it. So I don't want to knock Josh Allen. I don't want to take anything away from him. Like I said, I've been listening to a lot of people's takes, and I try to kind of like take a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and just kind of see what makes the most sense. And I get where everybody's coming from when they say, if you kind of took a poll on where you expected the Buffalo Bills to be at the beginning of the season, it would not have been anywhere close to the amount of success that they had. And I understand that Josh Allen had less to work with. I get all that. Like, he definitely turned water into wine. And so that's why I wanted to kind of go back and just, say, like, he was definitely deserving of it. I think Josh Allen had the season this year that Lamar Jackson had last year. And the voters fatigue and all that is, I mean, it's very, very real. But I think if you can go back and you can kind of reverse roles and maybe give Josh the MVP last year, because Lamar didn't put up like ridiculous numbers last year. It's just his team was so good that, I mean, he didn't put bad numbers up. He put good numbers up, but it's just his team was so good. And it's kind of been one of those awards that, like, if your team's like the best team and you're putting up good numbers, and it just kind of goes to you at times. But again, this year Lamar's numbers were like ridiculous. Um, his numbers this year were like way, way more deserving of an MVP. And like I said, I get why there's the voters fatigue, and I'm truly happy for Josh Allen. I think in this particular instance, I think that the voters got it wrong, especially when you consider the fact that Lamar Jackson was a first team All Pro. So I think it's only been like 3 times in NFL history where a quarterback was a first team All Pro and didn't win the MVP. That was in like the MVP running. So it was kind of a weird precedent to set. I mean, I guess it was already set, but yeah, it was kind of weird to see him make first team All Pro and then turn around and not get the MVP. But again, I think that they both were deserving. I just felt like Lamar had a little bit better of a season. I'm not going to knock the committee or voters. You guys did what you had to do, and again, I truly love Josh Allen as a quarterback. I think he's a great player, and so I'm happy for him. But again, I mean, we're splitting hairs, obviously, but I feel like Lamar was a little bit more deserving of it. But at the end of the day, Josh got it, so kudos to him. So, anyways, on to the next. Let's talk about the Hall of Fame. Let's talk about the Hall of Fame class of 2025. Only 4 people were elected into the Hall of Fame this class, and it's like I think they said it was the smallest class since 2005. So 20 years. This has been the smallest class that's been elected into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And I don't really necessarily have a take on, whether it, is what I think about, the amount of people that get in. And I don't really know like the voters like Ryan Reason as to, how they choose who gets in and how many people gets in or whatever the case may be. But I will say I am truly happy I'm happy for all the guys in this class, but I'm more so happy for Sterling Sharp first and foremost. I remember when Shannon Sharp got elected in the Hall of Fame, and actually they just replayed this on First Take, so it was kind of cool because I immediately thought about this. I immediately thought about this moment like in real time, like when Sterling Sharp got the call that he was going in. I immediately thought about when Shannon Sharp got elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and I just remember him. He said something along the lines of like he got voted in to the Hall of Fame, and he's not even the best player in his family. So I've always appreciated the admiration that Shannon Sharp has for his brother. Like if you go back and if you watch or you listen to anything Shannon Sharp ever talks about football wise, that dude like has so much love and admiration for his brother. He always talks about how, his brother literally paved the way for him. That everything his brother did, like he wanted to model his behavior after it. He wanted to echo those same, behaviors and things like that. And he always talks about how once he saw his brother make it to the NFL, Sterling Sharp, that it was just easy for him to get there because all he had to do was just follow the same things that his brother did because his brother was such a positive role model in his life. To see this moment happen, and again, like I said, Shannon talked about it again on First Take, and I think he had mentioned that that was the first time that he actually saw his brother cry was when Shannon was elected, and he talked about how his brother was better than him. And so to see all of this come full circle now, and to see Sterling Sharp, and I got a chance to watch Sterling Sharp growing up, man. That was early on in my kind of NFL watching days. I got a chance to see him play, man, and he truly was he was a spectacular talent. I don't think guys back then were putting up some of these ridiculous numbers, because the NFL is just different now. It's a lot more vertical passing and stuff like that. But for what he did in his small amount of time before he ended up, I think he broke his neck and had to cut his career short. I mean, he was a really really good player, and he's very well deserving of being in the Hall of Fame. So shout out to Sterling Sharp, shout out to Shannon Sharp for just really just constantly being like your brother's biggest cheerleader, man. So shout out to both of those guys. Also elected to the Hall of Fame, Jared Verse. He was a terror for my Lions, so I'll always remember, what he did out there on the field. Um, Eric Allen, again, with the Raiders, definitely remember him. Lockdown cornerback, really, really good player. Kind of one of those soft-spoken guys, just let his actions play out on the field. And then lastly, my Detroit boy, Antonio Gates, man. Who would have thought, however long ago it was, 20 years ago, whatever it was, when you stepped into the league, as a undrafted rookie that was a basketball player in college, that you would go over to the Chargers, man, and just put up the numbers that you put up. Just, man, I think Antonio Gates, man, I think he really changed the game for tight ends just from a pure how you have to guard them standpoint. I think he came with the shake and with the moves, and you know what I mean. Like he was just a different kind of tight end, man. He wasn't like ultra athletic or super fast or anything like that. But if you look at like the route running and like the shiftiness and the moves he would make on defenders, look at a guy like Travis Kelce now, man. Like it's like Antonio Gates 2.0. So I just really think that Antonio Gates was one of those guys that changed the position, man. And like I just really think that he was worthy and worthy of getting into the Hall of Fame. So I'm happy for him, and I'm happy to all the Hall of Fame class guys, man. Congrats to all of you guys. That's big. I don't know if people set out to do that, when they first start their careers, but to end up there, it's truly a blessing. So shout out to all you guys. Now, for one of the guys that did not Hall of Fame this year, and I'm only bringing him up because obviously I've seen a lot of people talking about it, and I think it deserves some mention that Eli Manning did not make it as a first ballot Hall of Famer. Um, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, like if Eli made it the first time, like I wouldn't have been upset, and I'm not upset that he didn't make it the first time. So I was kind of just either way I would have been cool. But if I'm keeping it a bean, man, like I don't think that he should have got in as a first ballot Hall of Famer. So I just if you Eli is one of those guys. I think I just kind of talked about it with Jalen Hurts. Eli's not, and I'm not by any means comparing him to Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is much better, is way better. But I'm only talking about being elite in the moments where it matters. That's what Eli is. When you cannot be elite in the moments when it matters um, if you take down the goat on two separate occasions in the Super Bowl. When you take down Tom Brady and one of those teams was undefeated, and you take that team down, and then you turn around and you take largely the same team down again.
Yeah, it's because he played elite in the moments when it matters. So although his career, like his career numbers are, they're not great. He's like a career like 500 winner. You know what I mean? Like I don't even think he's a career like 2-to-1 touchdown interception guy. He never did anything that wowed you, like especially during the regular season. There was like he was just to me he was a slightly above average quarterback. But when you're a two-time Super Bowl champion, and like I said, you take down the GOAT, I think at some point he's definitely going to get into the Hall of Fame. And you add that to the fact that he is a Manning, so I would be hard pressed to say that I don't think that he's going to get into the Hall of Fame. And I think I'm not going to drag Eli. I think that he is deserving. I just don't think that he was deserving as a first ballot Hall of Famer. So I'm going to leave that where it is. Again, he's going to get it at some point. So it is what it is. Anyways, let's talk about what's been going on in the NBA, man. Let's talk about what happened before and up into the trade deadline. First and foremost, obviously, if you go back to episode 1, let's talk about this trade, that happened with AD and Luka. I'm not gonna get too far into that because I think I addressed that. Enough on the first episode. But what I will say is, man, it's been some. I've had some. In fact, I've kind of been on an emotional roller coaster this last week with with the trades that happened and the trades that didn't happen, and trades got rescinded and all this craziness. So if you go back and you look in what I said on the first episode, I definitely said that Dallas won that trade. And I meant it. I absolutely meant it. I thought that Dallas got better immediately. And I thought that the Lakers didn't necessarily get better. I just thought that they, it kind of left, Trey and AD just kind of left holes on their roster, man. So I was just kind of, trying to figure out like where they were going to go from there. And then, just as I was getting ready to come back today and say now that the Lakers won the trade, because of what they had added, right after the Luka and AD trade, they go out and they make a trade for Mark Williams, who is definitely the kind of player that I think Luka enjoys to play with. He's one of those. He's actually a more skilled Derek Lively. He's a big man that plays well off the pick and roll. He's a lob threat. But he's actually got a little bit more polished game. Like he can actually shoot the ball a little bit, and I think he's a better defender than Derek Lively. But I only mention Derek Lively as a comp for him because like he's the kind of guy that Luka loves to play with those kind of guys, man. So I was like I said, I was getting ready to come on here. I was getting ready to to go back on what I said and say that the Lakers actually came out on top. And then we find out that the trade was rescinded. Apparently, I think when it first came out, they were saying that the Hornets didn't, something on their end didn't they didn't live up to whatever the Lakers, had wanted within the trade. But then it came out that I guess Mark Williams actually failed the physical. So, and I don't know how I feel about that, man. I think I don't know if these guys. I don't know if Mark Williams just didn't want to go to the Lakers or what, because I think he's from like that area down. I think he's from somewhere around there. Obviously, he played his college ball in North Carolina, and then to be on Charlotte. I think his family is somewhere on the East Coast, and so I'm kind of wondering, man, did he like purposely fail his physical, or like what's the deal? I don't even know if that's possible. Like I really don't. It's just my little conspiracy theory, but anyways, man, I was about to be happy for the Lakers, man. I was about to say that they won this trade. when you factor in everything. Like I would have then like basically made like an all encompassing, like I would have taken everything that they had done and put it all together as like one massive trade. So it would have basically been like you traded AD, Max Christie, Dalton Connect, Cam Reddish, and the picks for Luka Doncic and Mark Williams, which to me, that trade made way more sense than just, the individual trade that happened, between Luka and AD. But, regardless, the trade that happened didn't happen. So it is what it is. So I still think Dallas won the trade, even though, and here we go again, AD, man, you play your first game and you out there beasting, dude. You got like 26 points. Like, I want to say like the third quarter or something, like you already had like 26 points. And here we go, man, injured again. So it's just crazy, man. Like, I don't want to get into comparing everybody to LeBron because I don't think that's fair, man. They say LeBron spent like a couple $1 million on his body like every year, but I will say, like, if LeBron is willing to do those things to keep himself in the league, 22 years now, like, why aren't some of these other guys willing to do the same thing? And again, I don't want to compare everybody to LeBron because I know everybody's body's different. Everybody's bodies react to injuries differently, and not everybody. Now, LeBron's career has largely been, there's been a lot of luck that goes into it. And so I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to blast people and like compare them to LeBron, but I do think that there has to be something said about the way some of these guys are taking care of their bodies or not taking care of their bodies. And, when I think about, like Joel Embiid, they're talking about, he's saying that he's probably going to need surgery again this off season. And it's like, I think about him, I think about, Zion, I think about Kawhi, AD, like some of these guys that, just can never seem to stay healthy. So I really wonder, like, are these guys really doing everything that it takes to be present and be there for their teams, or are they just kind of resting on their laurels once they get the bag? So that's a question for you all, man. Get in the comments, y'all. Let me know what y'all think about it, because I'm just kind of, I'm kind of perplexed, man. I don't really know how I feel about it. So, but I will say, going back to that trade again, I said that the young fella Max Christie was going to. I thought that was a key piece in that trade that was slept on, man. And I really appreciate the fact that the young fella's proven me right, man. He's played 2 games. First game he had 15. Second game he had 23, and it was like an efficient 15 and an efficient 23. And I'm gonna throw something out there. Y'all let me know what y'all think about it. But it's really, really hard to come to a team that has one of the best players to ever play the game and not feel some level of, like, just, I don't know if stress is the word, but just, I don't know, maybe stress is the word, but not feel some level of stress as to, trying not to disappoint that player and, trying not to do too much and things like that. I just feel like when you play with a player like LeBron, I don't care what your game was like before you got to that team with him. Like, your game is going to change somewhat. It's going to have to change because his game forces you to have to change your game. So what? And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I guess it's a bad thing if you're somebody that's used to putting up like gaudy numbers, but if you want to win championships and you want to be competitive, every single year, that's not a bad thing. But I think when you're young and you come in the league and like a Max Christie and your entire life existence since you've been playing probably AAU ball, you've probably been the man, as is with the case with most of the NBA players and most athletes in general. When you come to a team and like you play with a player like LeBron, a lot of these guys, like, they're really kind of struggling to find their lane. They're trying to find what it is that they can do to be not only successful on the team with LeBron, but just successful within this league. And if you're not one of these guys that can deal with that kind of situation well, like, it could really make or break you. So So I'm again, I'm not gonna go too far into this, but I'm really happy to see the young fella. I feel like he's kind of playing more free, and I think you're kind of you're kind of seeing that right now. So so kudos to them, man. Kudos to Max Christie. I hope that he continues to shine like that. Now let's talk about Jimmy Butler to the Warriors. Um, I I'm a fan of Jimmy Butler. Let me say that first and foremost. But I do think that Jimmy Butler and I want to first and foremost I want to say that Jimmy Butler to me has really like I think he's outplayed the talent in which he came to the NBA with, if that makes sense to you guys. If I could go back to whenever he was drafted, um, I thought that he would. I always thought that he would be one of those guys that was like just a 3-and-D player, because he was a hard worker. He's always been a great defender. Not that he could shoot threes back then, but I just thought that that's what he would end up developing into, because I don't think he's ever particularly been a great 3-point shooter. But just if I'm going back to when he first came in the league, that's kind of what I was expecting him to be. So I want to just say first and foremost that he's truly like exceeded for my expectations above and beyond. So I want to say that first and foremost. But I will say I don't necessarily think like Jimmy Butler's a great player. I think I think he's a great leader, and I think he's a guy that again I hate to keep referencing what I just talked about with Jalen Hurts and even Eli Manning. I think when the moments matter the most in the playoffs, I think you're going to get the best version of Jimmy Butler. And I think that's what you want. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's what you want in a player, especially for an organization like the Golden State Warriors, because the Golden State Warriors have, they've had a lot of success over these last 10 years. And so they know what success looks like. They know what it's like to, get in the playoffs and, just they know how to, capitalize on certain matchups, and they just know what it takes to win. And I think you combine that with Jimmy Butler, who's another guy who largely knows what it takes to win as well. And this is probably going to be controversial when I say this, so I'm expecting people to comment and kind of challenge me on it, but I don't think that I actually think that Andrew Wiggins, if you go back to like when they first came in the league, I think Andrew Wiggins' like top level talent was much. I think his peak was going to be much higher than Jimmy Butler's. Now he never really reached that peak, and Jimmy Butler obviously peaked out. But I'm just talking about like if you go back to just obviously, I mean it's obviously like Jimmy Butler was like I think a late first round pick, and Andrew Wiggins was the first pick in the draft. So I know that's like probably low hanging fruit, but it hasn't necessarily panned out like that. So while I don't think that Jimmy Butler is like way more talented than Andrew Wiggins, even at this stage, I just think that he is a proven winner, and I just think that he knows what it takes, and he leads by example. And I just think that the Warriors made a really good move in picking him up. Now, I did mention that when it comes playoff time, that's what you're going to need, but the Warriors currently aren't even in a playoff position right now, so they have a lot of work to do to even catch up to the other guys to even get in position to be in the playoffs. So if they get to that point, obviously they're a dangerous team, but they have to get there first. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I think that the move was a really good move. Now I'm not gonna cap it all, man. Like signing Jimmy Butler to a 2-year, $121 million extension was wow crazy, man. Like this NBA is getting out of control, man. It really is, man. I just have a big problem with guys, and it's the same thing with quarterbacks in the NFL. Just because you're the next guy up or whatever the case may be, like I just have a big problem with guys who are not like super like top tier, top level guys getting paid these ridiculous amounts of money. I remember going back to and I don't want to drag Mike Conley because I think he's a good dude, man. But I remember several years ago when Mike Conley got like this max contract and he was the highest paid player in the league for that moment in time. And I just remember saying, man, if I think LeBron was on I think he was on the Cavs at the time, and I was like, man, if the Cavs don't sign him to extension right now and make him the highest paid player, I'm like, there's no way in hell that Mike Conley should ever be the highest paid player in the NBA. Like, it's just crazy to me. So, but again, I don't want to drag Mike Conley because I think he's a really good player and I think he's a good person. But I just like when you're just like a good player or just like an average player and you're getting these crazy contracts. I'm all about people getting their money, so I don't want anybody to take this as like I don't want people to get their money because I don't want everybody to get their money, man. Like listen, bro, I came from nothing. Get your money. I know a lot of these guys came from nothing, so get your money, especially when you consider the amount of money that these owners are making and they don't do anything. So, but I'm just again, if I'm putting it in context, man, as far as like, you know, the player salary versus like, you know, the actual type of player that they are. I just think it's crazy, some of these contracts. But anyways, man, it is what it is. Congrats to you, Jimmy, for getting the bag again. I will definitely say I think that this is probably the last big bag you're going to get, being already, you know, 35, 36 years old or whatever. So, but hey, man, you got the bag and, you know, it is what it is. So do your thing. So another trade that I was really, really excited about was the De'Aaron Fox to the San Antonio Spurs. I've always been a De'Aaron Fox fan, even going back to Kentucky. I really, really love the way he plays. He's not a great three-point shooter right now. He's good, but his three-point shot, even though I think it's dipped this year, but it's before this year it had been getting consistently better. But you want to talk about pure just speed and quickness, man. That dude is a blur. He might be the fastest player in the league, man, with the ball in his hands. So you pair that with Victor Wembanyama, and you know CP3, man. Let's just keep it 100, bro. Like, man, you got to come off the bench, bro. Like man, I'm sorry, bro. You got to come off the bench, man. Like the young fella Stephon Castle is just. He needs to be in the starting lineup, man. And I know Pop knows what he's doing. And I know I really truly believe that this was just like kind of how they wanted to start it. I don't think they want to immediately put Chris Paul on the bench once they got De'Aaron Fox. But at some point, man, CP3, man, you got to go to the bench, bro. And it's not that you're playing bad or anything like that. It's not. I just think that. I think that De'Aaron Fox does everything that you do, but at a way higher level. He's way younger. He's just way more athletic. And I'm not saying that he's the exact passer that you are, because you're a generational passer. But I just feel like it would be a lot better lineup if you put Stephon Castle in the starting lineup. Young athletic dude that's just great defender. Again, another one of these wiry guys. That I just think the sky's the limit for. But I was really happy with this trade. I watched the first game that they played, and I think it was against the Hawks, yeah. And you could definitely see there was, you could definitely see that there was a little bit of, like kind of, them trying to figure each other out, which is, obvious, man. You're gonna have that, when you move a player like De'Aaron Fox to a new team. Like there's gonna be that time where you got to figure it out. But they obviously end up winning the game, and so I really think that combination of him and Victor, man, I think the sky's the limit for those guys, and I'm excited to see it, man. I'm excited to see Pop get that that new level of rejuvenation, man. When he has this influx of new young guys. And Pop's always been one of the top coaches in the league, so I'm looking forward to seeing him coach these guys up, and I want to see where these guys are going to be 3 to 5 years from now. So, great trade for San Antonio, and let's just kind of see how it pans out. Lastly, I want to talk about just a little bit of boxing. Um, I don't want to get too far into this because the fight is such a long ways away, but I am excited about it. I'm excited, but I'm also indifferent about it. The Terrence Crawford Canelo Alvarez fight. Um, I got to tell you, I think initially Canelo was thinking about fighting Jake Paul, and I mean, I didn't particularly necessarily want to see that fight. I respect the hustle when it comes to the Paul brothers, man. Like I'm not necessarily a fan, but man, how can you not respect what these guys do, man? These guys started off as just like social media guys that just grew like a huge following from just kind of doing like wild, crazy stuff, and they somehow parlayed that into like I would say successful boxing careers. So, and these guys are obviously like multimillionaires, guys that, they say they came from nothing, and, they found a way to, they found a way to really just, become really largely successful. So I could never knock the hustle, man. I'm all about doing what you got to do. Everybody, has a different hustle in different ways. And I just appreciate the grind and the hustle that these guys have been putting forward. So, but if I'm keeping it a beam, man, I did not want to see that fight. And I still think it probably will happen at some point, but that's not the fight that I wanted to see. Again, even this Terrence Crawford Canelo fight, I'm kind of indifferent about it just because, man, this is a big step up for Terrence Crawford, man. Terrence Crawford, throughout the majority of his career, he's fought at the welterweight level. So I mean, he's fought at that 147-pound level, and he just literally just went to like, what was it? I think he went to like light middleweight or something like that. And the guy that he fought, God, what is his name? I can't think of his name right now, but man, I watched that fight and it was a struggle, man. Like if I'm keeping it 100, I do think that Terrence Crawford kind of lost that fight, man. So I just think that moving up to 154 was already kind of a struggle for him, and now you're talking about moving up to the 160s, like mid 160s or so. Canelo, like he walks around at that weight. He walks around heavier than that, obviously, but to come up to that weight now just for full disclosure, like Terrence Crawford is my favorite. He's my favorite boxer, man, and he has been for quite some time. I think Terrence Crawford is supremely skilled. I think that he's super smart. He always controls the fight. Except for this last one, I think the guy was just super unorthodox, man, and he just had a weird boxing style that was throwing Terrence Crawford off. And you add that to the fact that he was just a bigger fighter. But like I said, 98% of the time, Terrence Crawford controls the fight. Like he makes the fighters fight under his terms, and I think if he's able to do that with Canelo, I think it'll be a really good fight. I'm not going to make a prediction right now because the fight is like so far away. A lot of things could happen between now and then. I am excited to see it. I think it's going to be a super draw. It's going to be a super draw as far as like viewership and things like that. So I am excited to see it. But again, right now I'm kind of indifferent on it. So we'll see what happens. And last but not least, I want to give a huge shout out to Miss Claressa Shields. Not gonna lie, man. Claressa, man, I really thought you were gonna have your work cut out for you this fight. When I saw you and Danielle Perkins on the weigh-in, and man, she was just towering over you. I'm like, man, this not only is this girl like, she's a bigger, taller fighter, but she's also a southpaw. So I really thought that was going to present a lot of problems for Claressa Shields. And there was a couple of times when, you know, she was getting the best of her, but I just think, you know, as a whole, I think Claressa just, you know, she just showed why she's the best in the business, man. She just truly outboxed her. And you add that to the fact that we found out after the fight that she actually had I don't know if they've confirmed it or not yet, but she was fighting with a torn labrum. So her shoulder was like literally like torn, and she still was able to do what she did. And she now holds the belt in she holds the belt for all four boxing commissions. I mean, it's just crazy, and at multiple weight classes. So she holds belts in multiple weight classes. So I truly think that, you know, she's a remarkable talent. She representing that Flint, you know, Flint, Michigan, baby. You know, that's right by the crib. So I'm always gonna you know, show love and support, you know, my fellow Michiganders. So Claressa, you know, keep doing what you're doing. Great job. Get healthy, and let's see what happens for the next fight. But I just wanted to show you some love because you've earned it. You're truly doing what you need to do in this game, and I'm happy for you. So until then, that is going to be the end of the show for today. Make sure you guys, please, I'm begging all you guys. I like I said before, I really appreciate all the love, all the support. I appreciate the comments. I appreciate feedback, good or bad, because I can always find a positive in anything that you guys give me as far as that goes. So I just appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to rock with me. It's like I said, it's episode 2. I hope to, you know, continue to just grow and build and expand. And I can't do that without the support of you guys. So please get in the comments, like, subscribe. I mean, if you truly like my platform, man, I don't want to force anybody to do anything, but if you truly like what I'm doing, man, I urge you guys to please get in there and just like and subscribe. And like I said, once again, I'm going to continue to put out a new material every week. So look forward to that. And just like I said, man, I appreciate all you guys, man. So y'all take care. Until the next one, peace.
Pace and precision while handling business. Pace and precision while handling business. Pace and precision. Pace and precision. Pace and precision while handling business. God in my heart while I'm making decisions. God in my heart while I'm making decisions. Pace and precision. Handling business. God in my heart while I'm making decisions. Pace and precision. Handling business. God in my heart while I'm making decisions.